Good afternoon, fellow tankers. Commander Denalii here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Chinese Tier 8 premium tank, the 112. This tank is a fairly good tank. It's not bad mobility-wise, it's got some decent armor, and the gun on it is actually pretty good too. So as you can see, it's got a pretty low profile. It is a very long tank, but yeah, other than that, it's pretty average all around. As you can see, I've customized it, personalized it to myself as much as I could. But yeah, anyway, let's get into the stats on this. So as you can see, this has a 580 horsepower engine, which gives this tank a power-to-weight ratio of 12.62 horsepower per ton. Going forward, you can reach speeds up to about 45 kilometers per hour. In reverse, it goes about 15 kilometers per hour. If you get shot in the engine, you got a 12% chance of getting caught on fire. And this does have an engine in both the front and the back of the tank. So, I would suggest using a firefighting crew or fire extinguisher or mix of both. When we go to the gun on this, this has a 122 millimeter gun that has a base reload of 13.2 seconds. The aiming time on it is not great. It's 3.4 seconds, and the accuracy is 0.46. So this is more of a close range engagement type of tank. The elevation on this gun, you can go up to 17 degrees, and as far as the gun depression, you only have 6 degrees of gun depression. So, this is more of a flat ground fighting tank. The hull can traverse at 26 degrees per second, and the terrain resistances on this are 1.1 for hard ground, 1.2 for medium ground, and 2.3 for soft ground. So it's not, horrible on mobility, but it's pretty average for a Tier 8 tank. As far as the turret goes, the base view range on this tank is 380 meters, and the turret can rotate at 26 degrees per second. Put some coated optics on this, and have a little over 400 view range. If you get some crew skills as well, that'll boost it even more. The radio on this tank has a signal range of 600 meters. It's a little bit below average, but like I said, this is more of a close range engagement tank. You don't want to be trying to shoot targets at 500 and 600 meters away constantly. So as far as the ammo goes on this, your standard round is an AP round, has a minimum penetration of 131 millimeters, and has a maximum penetration of 219 millimeters. The damage ranges between 293 and 488, so it's about 340, 380, something like that, average damage. When you switch over to your premium rounds, you have heat rounds, so your penetration minimum is 188 for that, and the maximum is 313 millimeters of penetration. The damage remains the same, and the shell velocity drops when you switch to your heat rounds. Your standard shells go 800 meters a second, and your heat rounds go 640 meters a second. And then, of course, you got your HE rounds. The penetration minimum is 46, and the maximum is 76. Upon a penetration, you can deal between 398 and 663 damage, and the splash radius is 2.5 meters. The shell velocity of your HE round is also 800 meters a second, like your standard round. So, if you're switching to your premium ammo, you're going to have to lead your target a little bit more compared to your standard AP or your HE rounds. So as you can see, I have a female crew in this. Decided to use a crew customization voucher on that. But yeah, I'm pretty much doing everything I can to help with my snapshot ability on this tank. So now that we're looking at armor, 20 millimeters is the minimum armor, which is just your tracks. Nothing special there. You do have a very wide track, so your tracks can absorb a lot of damage. When we switch over to 21 to 30 millimeters of armor, you got the back deck and a little bit of spaced armor on the sides of your tank, as you see there, and then also the top of your turret. which can get overmatched by some tier 10 guns. I believe there's also a couple tier 9s that can overmatch the roof of your turret as well. Going to 31 to 50 millimeters of protection, that's going to be your belly plate and your gun. I've had the gun knocked out on this thing several times just by, you know, people shooting the barrel when I'm poking around a corner. So be wary of that. So 51 to 70 millimeters of armor is going to be the rear of the turret and the hull, but as you can see, it is sloped and curved, which gives it a little bit more of effective armor. And then 71 to 90 millimeters, that's going to be the inner part of your hull, a little bit of spaced armor on the sides of your tank that's pretty well angled actually, and then here in a second you'll see the lower plate as well. And you know, that's not great for a tier 8 tank, having a lower plate that has between 71 to 90 millimeters of protection, but it is angled, so you can bounce some rounds every now and again off of it. It's not a consistent thing. Switching over to between 91 and 120 millimeters of armor is going to be the upper plate, and then part of your turret roof as well. So that's actually pretty decent from what I found out because of how well it's angled. Also, your turret ring is between 91 and 120 millimeters of armor as well. You can get pinned there. And then switching from 121 to 160 millimeters of armor, that's going to be part of your gun mantle there, and then the sides of your turret, and then the loader's hatch and the commander's hatch as well. And then, of course, 240 millimeters of armor is all of that red right there, which is the front of your turret and your gun mantle. So this tank is very good when it's hulled down. I've bounced several tier 10 rounds off of the front of this turret. Just be aware that there are certain angles to where they can get you, you know, in the turret cheeks and stuff like that if you're not facing your turret directly at the enemy. Anyway, that's taking a quick look at the armor. So let's go into the supplies I run. So as far as supplies, I do 25 standard AP rounds. I do have 17 heat rounds, premium rounds, because this does, you know, see a lot of tier 10 matches and stuff like that. Of course, heat rounds not the greatest for a premium round. I would rather have APCR, but you know, it works. I also run 3 HE rounds, cap resets, soft skin targets, and then small repair, small first aid, and improved combat rations. As far as equipment goes, I go coated optics for the additional view range to boost it above 400 meters. I do large spall liner to help against HE rounds and, you know, ramming, stuff like that. And it also has a passive 30% to protect your crew members. If you don't want that, you can switch over to large caliber tank gun rammer or to vertical stabilizers. I was running vertical stabilizers on this for a while, but artillery likes to target me, so I had to switch over. But those are all some pretty good things you can use. And then for the third slot, I use improved vents, of course, to increase all my skills by 5%. So anyway, that's taking a look at the stats of the 112. I've been having a lot of fun in this tank. So yeah, let's take this into a couple battles and show you what it can do. Our first map is Redshire, and this is a tier 9 match. Only a few tier 9s on each team, 2 on my team and 3 on the enemy team. And most of the matchmaking is actually tier 7. So this is some pretty good matchmaking for this tank.
Alright, men, we've got enemies in the area.
On Redshire, I want to start in the south or the north. I'm a heavy tank. I like to go to the 9-0 line and fight over there. Because usually if you can win the hill over in the EF9 area and push through, you can usually win this map.
Focus on this location.
So I do like to go over there. And as you can see, the mobility of this tank is it's pretty average. It's not, you know, phenomenal. It's not, you know, really sluggish. so you know it's pretty decent, pretty average. So going this way, it looks like most of my team went to the left side of the map, and I've got it looks like 3 heavies and a tank destroyer coming over to this side of the map, along with 1 artillery support as well. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to get on top of the hill, see if we can't spot anybody, and try to not expose our hull too much. So there we go, enemy T-54, and because of the angle we were at, we bounced his round that he was. So we're going to go ahead and kind of hold this location, wait for our teammates to get here, because it looks like 2 of the heavy tanks stopped. And also if we can make these guys come around, we can put shots into them, or have the tank destroyer back there help us as well. And as you can see a moment ago, that T-54 pulled forward, got a little confident, and we got to put a round into the side of it.
Enemy exposed.
And here we go, spotting some more targets. Of course, we got a comet try to come around and circle us. We are going to eat around from the IS, but there we go, put one into the comet. Yeah, these guys are very confident over here. You know, they've got the numbers, but we're going to pay that IS back. There we go. He's almost dead. Our IS-3 is almost dead as well. So if we can take one of these guns out, that would be, you know, very nice to do to help him out. Auto-lock the enemy IS-3, and we just didn't get the gun down low enough to actually hit him in the hull, and we bounced around off his turret. Right now we're just trying to play defensively. Bounce another round off of him there. And it's just starting to not look too good on this side of the map. T-54 is going to try to bully our Japanese heavy there. And he's hiding behind him, so it's hard for us to get a shot. Here we go, now he's right in front of us, and we're able to put, you know, a decent sized hit into him. But that Type 4 is just, it's very tall. That T-54, if he stays on his side like that, it's a lot of work. So we end up tracking the T-54, that fixes it. And he's going to keep bullying the Type 4 heavy. But there we go, got a decent shot there, and we can finish him off. Now the Type 4 heavy doesn't have to worry about, you know, a medium tank just, you know, bullying him like that. So now these guys are all distracted on the Type 4, so we're going to take our time, pull up, take a shot, and just, you know, do that as much as we can.
Dropping target.
Track the IS-3, you know, around just when he do his tracks rather than through his side armor, which is alright. He just he did that nice angle right there at the end. But we'll aim a little bit lower that time and put a good round into him. And as you can see, the rate of fire on this tank is actually pretty good for a tier 8 heavy tank. So you're able to you know, put a shot into somebody in every 10 seconds, put another shot in. So aiming time not so great on this tank. So here we go, T-28 at 500 meters. And just seeing how long the aiming time is, it's not great. Want to hit him with follow-up, but it's just not going to happen, it doesn't look like. So we're gonna hold still over here, just in case anybody else wants to try to pull forward. Looks like the heavy tank behind me got taken out by artillery. But yeah, now we're gonna go ahead and move forward and try and engage this T-28. It looks like we also lost the artillery that was supporting this side as well. So with us pretty much being all alone on that side, I want to pull forward, not around to the E9 area and around through that gap, but I want to pull forward to where the 2 tank destroyers that are to my left can assist me if I spot somebody or if somebody rushes me or something like that.
Ready to fire
There's the
on
enemy
target.
T-28, and we'll just do a quick shot into him.
Enemies looking right at us.
And now we're going to pull around to help out our two heavies that are in the valley. Spotted the S-51 that took a shot at us. We should go take him out, so that's one less artillery going back. We are up by 2 kills so far.
Ready to fire on target.
Pulls just a little bit too far forward, and we bounce his round and we end up taking him out of the process.
We've got him up.
S-51 showing a little bit, but not quite enough. And yeah, anyway, this match should be just about wrapped up. Just a few enemy tanks left to go. As you see, just trying to get shots on this guy, it's just not happening. But it looks like our tank destroyer is going after him. Yep. So what can we do? Oh, ISU-152 in the back. And did a very lucky shot there. Wasn't aimed in on him, was able to hit him perfectly. And now we're going to go for this IS-3 that's slow down. Which doesn't happen because we won't reload it quick enough. So all we have now is the S-51 and the other artillery. With us being in this location, I'm not going to go for the S-51. I'm going to go for the other artillery, which is most likely in the A1 area. Here we go. Last enemy on the team. Yeah, we've got him somewhere right around here. Oh, there he is. That'd be 3805. There we go. We can finish him off just as he tries to shotgun us. And we secured a top gun.
Mission accomplished.
Alright, at the end of that match, we ended up making 174,000 silver, 3,574 experience. We got our ace tanker 99% and top gun with 13 penetrations, 4,300 damage, and 6 kills. We also assisted for 1,300 damage and blocked just under 1,000 damage. So all in all, that was a very good match. Alright, as you can see, finally got the ace tanker 99%. So that was very nice. Yeah, here's the team stats for anybody that wants to see all of that. As you can see, our team did very well. We had 7 tanks remaining at the end of that match. Anyway, on to our second match, Highway, which is one of my favorite maps. I used to hate this map, but it's slowly, you know, making its way into my heart, and I've started enjoying it a lot. So as you can see on this match, if you look at the bottom of the screen, I don't have improved combat rations. Instead of that, I did have the automatic fire extinguisher. I decided to change things up a little bit and try to protect myself from getting caught on fire. And when I do get caught on fire, the automatic extinguisher is very nice to have because you lose a lot less health. So this is a tier 8 match, and yeah, pretty much our job here should be to push into the city, do whatever we can in the city, you know, do as much damage as we can, get some kills if possible, and then push out of the city and assault the enemy, or if we have to alternatively push back to the Finland camp. Like I said, this is starting to become one of my favorite maps. I just like it because when you're fighting in the city, there's a lot of buildings, a lot of cover, and I mean, you can fit a lot of tanks into it. There's just a lot of good areas, you know, for heavy tanks, medium tanks, and even tank destroyers. Alright, so first couple enemies are detected up here to our right. And, yep, I didn't see any coming down that road, so, oh, there's one. IS-3.
Ready to fire on target.
And we miss our first shot, and he connects with his. That's no big deal.
Ready to fire on target.
We are getting a little bit of assisted damage for spotting him.
Ready to fire.
T-37 wants to, try to put some shots into us.
Enemy
And an IS
exposed.
as well. So we'll go ahead and put a quick shot into the IS. Here we go, got some support showing up now. Left leg on. And not quite quick enough to get another shot onto that IS. But if he keeps playing out like that, we'll be able to. That's it, we'll just go point blank and shoot from the side. And let our teammates finish him off. Now we should have the sides of a couple of these guys.
Let it rip.
Like 85 or the back.
We're immobilized.
There we go. I didn't know track where he ended up tracking me out. So I did burn my repair kit there. That's alright. Finish that Tiger off. And then we'll play with this A45 a little bit. Face out, then we're going to come back and shoot the KV-85. Finish him off. So we've got some pretty good teamwork going on over here. I love it when this happens. There we go, ISU 152. Show him a little bit of side armor. He thinks he can go through, but he can't. And then put a good shot into him. And yeah, I love the spaced armor on this tank. It helps out a lot if you just do slight angles. And also if you can get into a spot like this where you just show the turret, you can do well as well. Too bad the teammates finished him off. I would have loved to get another shot into him. And then of course, somebody blocks a shot. He does apologize for it right away, which is amazing because most people don't even notice. And we'll finish off the OI. So it looks like we've won this side, so now I'm going to push back towards the cap because there's two enemy heavies located in the map. So I'm going to push back this way, try to get some shots into their flanks, and get as much damage as I can. Tier 6s, which, if they're facing me frontally, they should have a very hard time getting penetrating shots on me. So I'm just going to drive straight at them, hopefully get a couple shots at them. The Black Prince, that guy has a little bit better chance of penetrating me if he's fully upgraded. But we'll go ahead and put a free shot into him because he's just sitting there. Tier 6 Churchill. Go ahead and aim in. And he gets taken out by someone else. Of course, OI shooting HE. He's going to do a little bit of damage. That's alright. We just do a quick snapshot and get very lucky and end up hitting him. And now he's down to a one shot for just about everybody on the team. It looked like he fired an AP round at me, which is kind of strange. And now I can sit here and hopefully farm some damage out of this Black Prince. He looks to be, angled slightly well.
Penetrate their armor.
Which is nice to see people play that tank with a grip. Most people just try not to angle or anything. We think they can, bounce everything. There we are, getting some more assisted damage for having this guy spotted. IS-6 shooting us in the side.
Focus
We
attention
can take
here.
this guy out.
Releasing
Nope,
target.
we bounced him. We just didn't have good gun depression.
Lost a track.
We're gonna try to get a shot into the IS. Nope, maybe not.
They've spotted us.
Black Prince pulling forward. Finish him
Our
off.
team destroyed an enemy.
And we'll eat one more shot from the IS-6.
Ready to fire on target.
Looked like he had a pretty good angle on us, shooting us on the side, and he's above us, so
Enemy's
you know,
looking right at us.
good for him for having that angle. But now he's a one-shot as well. And trying to get some more damage before this gets capped out. Nope, it looks like somebody got off the cap. It should give us plenty of time to get up here and finish this guy
Releasing
off.
target. Enemy's got us
And
in
we'll
their
get the
sights.
catch, and there we go. We end up getting another top gun and a decent
Great
amount of
job,
damage.
man.
So at the end of that match, we ended up making 83,000 silver, 3,000 experience. We had 12 penetrations for 3,500 damage. We ended up blocking 2,500 damage and assisting for almost 1,500 damage. We ended up getting a top gun, a steel wall, and a mastery badge first class, which I've had a lot of those in this tank. You know, I've only had like I think one mastery badge. But anyway, here's the team stats for anybody that wants to see all of that. You know, we had 8 tanks remaining at the end of that match, and it was just a pretty good match. So our last map here is going to be El Haluf. You know, this is still by far one of my favorite maps to play. You know, whether I'm high tier, low tier, it doesn't matter what type of tank I'm in. However, this is a tier 8 match. And yeah, we're going to go to the normal spot and try to you know, take care of the enemy tanks, farm some damage.
Focus attention here.
So again, like I was pointing out, this tank has pretty average mobility. As you can see, I'm able to navigate through and get to the front of the pack here and go to this corner over here, which is great. I love tanks that, you know, are mobile. And this tank has wonderful turret armor for being a tier 8. It's fairly low profile, which is nice, and it has a pretty decent gun. Other than that, I mean, the bad things are the aiming time. That could definitely use some work.
Focus on this location.
The hull is, you know, weak, but you have that good side spaced armor on your sides. So all in all, it's a pretty average tank. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I picked this tank up, I don't know, a couple months ago when I started working towards the 121. And I used it as a crew trainer and, you know, stuff like that. And I'm going to continue doing that for the 113. I've made it up to the, I believe I'm at the tier 8, which is the 112. But yeah, I'm going to be using this as a crew trainer for that as well. You know, in between tiers and stuff like that. So yeah, as you can see, the turret armor holds up pretty well.
Enemies got us in their sights.
The lack of penetration on the gun, or on the ammo, that's another bad thing. I mean, but like I said, this is just a fairly average tank. It does have, you know, the extra silver income and stuff like that, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't prefer getting this over some other tier 8 premium tanks. This would be like probably number 5 or 6 on my list. Anyway, doesn't look like the enemies are pushing forward. We did have one flank right here on the left of us right here, which is medium tank. We're gonna try to get behind him and take him out. do some decent damage there and track him. And there we go. He ends up getting finished off by our teammate behind us. And since they were not that aggressive, now I can push down and, you know, play with this T95E2 that decides he wants to take a tumble off of the mountain. And I thought about following him there and, you know, potentially ramming him to death, but why do that when he's just going to have to drive away and we can get a couple shots into him anyway.
Enemies looking right at us.
So there we go. End up taking almost all of his hit points. And now we got a T29 down here that's oblivious to us apparently. So we're going to put a shot into him as well. And he's also a one-shot for just about everybody on our team now.
Enemies got us in their sights.
And yep, he's finished off. And yeah, now we're going to go back to this corner over here and try to help our team over here with the rest of the remaining tanks over here. We still have that Tier 7 Japanese tank over here, the Oni, which is, you know, causing a little bit of trouble because he's got some decent armor. So while those guys are occupying him, I'll see if anybody's right here. And yep, looks like a Tier 6 heavy, the VK3601H. And we'll go ahead and ram him and finish him with a shot as well. And we got to be careful of that tank destroyer that's in the G3 area. He probably has shots on us right now. But now that we've taken care of that VK, we can flank this IS and this Oni.
The enemy knows our location.
And an A44 shows up. So we'll just try to keep our armor as close as we can to facing him. Try to get one more shot into him. There we go. I'm very happy I had a fire extinguisher there. This tank does have a pretty decent chance of getting caught on fire, as you can tell. But there we go, SU-12244. Easy enough to penetrate, and he gets finished off by artillery. So we're getting some more assisted damage. We're going to fix our engine here. Normally I would save my kit for, you know, an ammo rack or something. But I do want to get out of the area right here because this seems like a death trap between artillery and that tank destroyer that's to our left. But if we can use this as cover to our left, this hill here, then we can push around and finish these guys off. You know, if we can hit the target, that is. So here we go, we're gonna take a shot at this IS now. He's faced the other way again, so we'll just finish him off. And it looks like the Oni moved. We're gonna switch over to our heat rounds here, because he does have those thick, flat pieces of armor all over his tank. And we're gonna go back this opposite way over here, and try to catch him, you know, in the side or the rear of his tank, because it did look like he pushed around, and in fact he did. He did that so he could finish off the Amex M445, which is another tank that I didn't like, but it was a very good tank. But anyway, yep, there we go. We'll get one shot into his side, and then he'll shoot us in the track, and before he reloads, we should be able to finish him off. Nope, he gets around the corner.
Track is up. Let's move it.
Maybe we can get him now.
Target locked.
Nope, we hit the gun barrel of the dead tank there. But our teammate shows up in the J-Panther and helps us finish him off. So just waiting to go undetected here before I decide to go around that corner. Just in case the artillery wants to, you know, take a shot. And then since the J-Panther's going that way, I'm going to go this other way over here. And, you know, make sure we can detect these guys, you know, wherever they're at. It was a fairly close match for most of it. We are up by 3 tanks, though. Yeah, it looks like AT-15 is remaining, so I'm going to switch over to premium rounds just to try to make quick work of him.
She's loaded.
And looks like he finished off the J-Panther. But as soon as we get this AT-15 taken care of, the only guy left on the enemy team would be artillery at that point, and that should be easy enough to take care of him.
The enemy knows our location.
So here we go. Bounce first shot off. Goes into the hatch.
Got him.
And almost one-shot him.
Artillery fire.
There's the SU-8. Tier 6 artillery. We're almost reloaded. And even though it's a premium round, I'm going to go ahead and fire. And we'll just finish him off really quick, just to make sure he doesn't, you know, keep peppering us while we're trying to take care of this AT-15.
Ready to fire on target.
Take the time aim in and finish them off as well. Alright, fellow tankers, so that's the 112. As you can see, mobility is pretty alright, gun is pretty good, aiming time kinda sucks, turret armor is amazing, and hull armor pretty average. We ended up 173,000 on that match for silver, 7,000 experience, and oh yeah, I did get another mastery. Yeah, so 16 penetrations for 5,500 damage, we destroyed 4 tanks, assisted for almost 1,500, and blocked 1,400. But anyway, that's the 112. So, yeah, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys are new to the channel and like what you see, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out greatly. I have plenty of other reviews on my channel as well. Yeah, as you can see, working on the MOEs on this as well. Yeah, hopefully this gives you guys something to look forward to, or, you know, something you want to pick up if you plan on grinding out the 113 or the 121. But anyway, you guys go out there and kill some shit. I hope to see you guys on the battlefield.